Just grab my coffee.
And of course, Ben's not getting his microphone working. Well done, Ben.
Huh? Is it not working?
Oh, I can hear him.
You can hear him?
Oh, yeah.
That's just a 3-letter word, Greg. Age. Let's hope
he just called you old. It checks out.
I can't hear a word he's saying.
That's good. Can you hear me now?
Nah, man, Sabe, you having me on there, right?
What's that? No, I can hear him just fine. Can you really not hear him?
I can't hear him. Let me jump out and jump back in.
Hang on, I'll jump out. Kicking me out already.
Oh, you're staying.
Oh, I'm staying, Anna. How's it going on your side of the Pacific Ocean, mate?
I was telling Greg, just watching the snow melt at this point.
Lovely.
All right, let's see.
Now I can find you, Ben.
Can you hear me now?
Do you have problems still?
Can you hear me, Greg?
So, yeah, I think, guys, we're gonna record this as well so that we can post it in the announcements. Ben should throw recording on in a couple of seconds.
Yep, it's already
and
going.
In that way, say that again, mate?
It's already going, mate, so crack on.
Oh, well done. So we're not firing you today, then. So basically, guys, just a quick update, with the launch, we've got a couple of things that are coming up now in our pipeline marketing-wise. We've got a AMA coming up with Crypto Sensei this coming weekend, with Cryptonaires. We'll also have another AMA coming up in the next couple of days with Critical Complex Dave. So, things from our end, we're working. I know that there's been a little bit of worry about the speed of what things are minting out. So, just again, I know some of you might know us from the Canna Fox days. We're actually a team that pride ourselves on integrity, which is why all of our faces are out there. So we have our certain go, no-go points. The only reason why we haven't mentioned those exact numbers is just for a simple reason, is that things always evolve. We always in negotiations with Pierre, we can always try and see if we can advance the go point to a lower area, and then little by little carry on with the funding of his project. So that's just typically why we haven't announced a specific number yet. But what I can do is I can announce a specific date, and the specific date that I can announce is that if we do not reach the go point by the end of April, then we're not the type of team that will leave you guys hanging and waiting around and lock up your funds if you want. I think that was what one member mentioned, which is also why we wanted to have this weekly SkyFi Chat. So basically by end of April, if we feel that we have not reached our go point, which I don't think will happen. To be honest, I think we're going to reach it. But if we don't, then all NFT holders will be getting a full refund. So really that's not something to worry about, guys. We're in this with you. Our goal's always been to protect the community, and that's what we stand for. So yes, I don't know if you want to add something onto that, Ben or Brent, but for me, I think our values is that, we're community first and everything else second.
Yeah, so the idea of SkyFi, right now everything is drone tech. That's our first launch. Ideally, I was speaking to somebody on Twitter the other day. Ideally we would have preferred a bit more time, to get the hype going, to really map out the picture of how big drone tech can be. We haven't really had the opportunity to do that, not because of us and not really because of Pierre, just the way things have fallen into place. We were on a very tight deadline. So now that we're out there, we've got the mint open. Fortunately for Pierre, he's given us a little bit more time. So now, we can watch the mint develop. And like Greg said, worst case scenario, if we don't hit our go point with Pierre, then all that would mean is we would refund back the NFT holders, 100% in the USDC or USDT, whatever happens there. And then we move on to the second project, and we've got 3, 4 lined up. Very, very promising ones that they're in the second phase of development. There's a couple based out here in Thailand, one based out in Canada, I think one based out in America, potentially with robotics. So we're very busy behind the scenes, but right now our main focus is on Pierre, and we recently had an update from Pierre. We can't give away too much right now. Pierre and KTV have asked us not to say anything, or Pierre has asked us not to say anything regarding the actual company, but he is in final agreements with one of the biggest companies in France to clean all of their towers. So
and basically what that meant was Pierre said that if this contract gets signed, those 4 drones will be working 30 days of the month guaranteed. So basically, I mean, it's cleaning one of the biggest company's towers. You know, I can't exactly mention the name of the company just because they're in the final negotiation phase with it, which I'm hoping that we'll be able to release that information next week. But yeah, I mean, it's really, really exciting. I was absolutely gobsmacked when he mentioned it. You know, just something to mention again about Pierre's integrity, you know, and why, as at SkyFi, we're really so proud of vetting these companies. It's Pierre, to be 100% honest, he doesn't really need us here at SkyFi. He's already had an approval from the bank for a loan. The only reason why Pierre said he'll go ahead with us was because initially, before he had approached the banks and before he'd done all that, he'd already given us his word that he would work with us. You know, so that just puts it up to the timeline that Ben was mentioning, was because Pierre's not waiting for anybody. He's here to get going and to get his project launched. So yes, I mean, just to show his integrity, you know, he said, right, guys, I'd given you guys a first option on this, so first options with you guys, and basically giving you guys till the end of April to come through. So yeah, I mean, again, we're just very proud to be working with companies like this. You know, we're very proud to be working with people with integrity. And I think that's what SkyFi is all about. I mean, our vetting process is very, very strict. And that's what we bring to we bring that to the community we want to bring quality and not quantity. I think I saw Brent chatting earlier on in the general chat, you know, which I couldn't have agreed more with what he said. I mean, if we were just to bring in quantity, that would reduce the quality of our project, which is really what we're not about.
Hey, Kyle, if you want to throw your hand up, I'll bring you up on stage.
Who let Kyle in?
Hand is up. There he is.
Oh, I did.
You did. Morning, Kyle.
How you doing?
Morning, mate.
So yes, I mean, basically, really, what we want is we want to have as many questions from the audience. You know, we really want you guys to feel part of the team. We want you guys to feel part of the community. We want to operate in complete transparency with you guys. I mean, we're not here to operate in the shadows and leave our community wondering what's happening. So again, that's why I think that this weekly SkyFi Chat is really important. You get to hear from the team. You know, we're not hiding behind mods. I mean, I think you can see that everyone here on the team, we are active. We're in the chat. You know, we're approachable. So, I mean, please, guys, don't feel embarrassed or scared to ask questions. You know, if you don't want to ask questions in general chat, I mean, we're always open for DMs. I mean, we've got the ticket system. We've got everything in place. So really, we're here to answer your guys' questions. We're not here to hide away in shadows.
See, Decoro's just joined. Morning, guys.
Morning. Oh, Renegade. Brent, can you bring Renegade up?
Don, hey.
Hi, Renegade. How you doing, buddy?
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Morning, bro.
Hold on.
Loud and clear, mate.
So I had a question for you guys. When we get rolling, is there going to be like monthly reports on revenue or how the business model is working?
Oh, that's actually a fantastic question. So basically, the drones are all connected via internet, and as the drones fly, they give a report through a platform. Now, Pierre has given us, or will be giving us, access to this platform. So basically, every single time that a drone is flying and operating, we can see it live, we can see it real time, so we will have an exact idea exactly how many hours each drone has worked. So we would then be able to follow the revenue of that drone. So it won't even be monthly, it'll be daily. You know, I mean, as soon as a drone's flying, we will have a report of what that drone's doing and how many hours it's worked and where it is and, you know, who the pilot is. I mean, basically a wealth of information that we have direct access to.
That's awesome. Yeah. So I mean, even then with the daily, it would be good to see maybe you guys put together maybe like a weekly report, just like here's what we've seen from the work or seen from the drones and what's going on. Just giving ideas maybe.
Oh, absolutely. No, that's a fantastic idea. We can definitely do that. I mean, we've got Martin, who's not in yet today, but Martin, he's our numbers guy. I'll definitely have a chat with him, and we can, you know, once the drones are up and running, to give a weekly report of how many drones were flying, how many hours they flew. That's a fantastic idea.
Yeah, good data points, information for the community, and it helps show what's going on. So that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, no, awesome. Of course,
Thanks, guys.
the important thing as well is that with it going through this platform, and again, this is information that Pierre's given us direct access to. When the drone actually flies, at the end of its job, it automatically generates an invoice for the company that's hired the drone, and we actually have access to that invoice. So
That's cool.
We will know exactly what the gross revenue is of every drone at the end of every shift, if you like.
Yeah, that's cool. All right, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome, mate.
Renegade, got a question for you.
Oh.
On that report, if we were to do it bi-weekly or twice a month per se, what would you as a community member like to see on that report?
That's a good question. I mean, I think what community's going to want to see, right, is, you know, what are, you know, data points that are going to affect their revenue, right, for as NFT holders. Obviously, seeing hours worked and that it's staying busy is great, and we want to see all that as well. But I would say, you know, okay, hey, they made X amount, and of that, knowing your, you know, whatever the percentages are, I'm pretty sure it'll grow, right? As we start with a report, you get, you know, 10 data points, and then we start looking at it and talking about it as a community and say, hey, maybe 9 are good, and we can maybe add another 5 different data points. Seeing the information, I love data, so the more information, the better.
Yeah, well, I'm wanting to nail down as many of those data points as the community wants to see as early as possible so we can have that discussion. Get something good at the door of the front.
Yeah, it shows transparency, and as you guys get rolling with these, and I think it's something that will grow as well, right? Like I said, you start with, hey, here's 5 data points, and then just start talking about it, and it can grow. I mean, it could just be I've seen different types of reports that are put out, you know, daily, weekly, monthly, or even quarterly. So it all depends on what you guys are getting. So once we see what you're getting, then we can maybe give feedback as a community. That'd be kind of cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I don't think we'll do quarterly reports because, I mean, you know, I mean, maybe we could do a quarterly in-depth report. But I think, like you said, information to the community is really crucial. So, I mean, I'm going to have a look now. I'm going to have a chat with Pierre again this evening, you know, because we're in constant updates of where everyone is concerning their different job descriptions, if you want, or their or what they have to do. So I think a weekly update is definitely doable. I mean, I'm all
Yeah, I
for
definitely
that.
don't want to add too much work. Coming from where we're at too, it's definitely tough to have a certain amount of data points and information to put out all the time. If it's easy, cool. If it's a lot of work, weekly, bi-weekly, information's information. So, like you said, the more put out, definitely just don't want to put more work on your plate just to say, hey, we're doing something.
That's all right. I'll give it a Brent.
And then what's new?
Cool deal. Thanks for having me up, guys. I'm on my way to softball practice, so you can go ahead and put me back down to the audience.
Hey, thanks, Renegade.
Have fun.
Nope. Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.
So, yes, I mean, that was a fantastic question from Renegade, so I appreciate it. I mean, if anyone else there, I mean, Steve, Sparky, Decoro, I mean, even our little Red there. By the way, I just want to take this time to shout out, a big shout out to Red and to Hannah and, of course, all the other mods, But, I mean, Red and Hannah, they are community leaders at the moment. They're not mods. They're not on the payroll. They're just really with us because they love this project so much. And I always find it really incredible to see every morning how much they've been chatting and how much they've been helping the community. So I just want to throw a big shout out to you guys. I mean, we really do appreciate it, and I think the community do as well. So, yeah. I mean, Kyle, do you want to throw in something there, mate?
Real quick, Sparky had another data point that we may need to talk to Pierre on, but a maintenance schedule might be nice to have as well for the drones.
You're talking of a maintenance schedule. Okay, so that's actually why we worked out our tokenomics, if you want, Sparky, on a 50% operation time of a drone. So obviously we don't want the drones to be working 50%. We want them to be working at 80, 90, 100%. But yeah, I mean, as you mentioned, drones will have to go into maintenance. You've got pilots that are sick. You've got transport times from one city to another or from one area to another. So that's why we actually did our calculations very conservatively on 50%. So with drones working at 50% of the time, that takes into consideration any maintenance or any or anything that can happen that we don't expect with the drones. So, but I mean, definitely, let me see with Pierre, if I can get a maintenance schedule. To be 100% honest with you, I don't know how often they need to be maintained. I know I did have a very interesting conversation, though, with Pierre, which I think might help a little bit with the idea of maintenance. There are a couple of drone companies that are operating, but they're all working on high-pressure water systems. And then what Pierre mentioned to me was the problem with the high pressure was one, it ruined the paint of the buildings. I mean, especially when you had buildings that are a little bit older, with older paint, it just took the paint straight off. And then also the second thing which he mentioned to me was that it caused leaks, especially when it came to windows around rubber seals and all that. These high pressures actually damaged the building. Where the product that Pierre uses, it's I'm not 100% sure how it works, but it's like a self-cleaning product. So basically they spray this product on, which at very low pressure, and then this product, if you want, eats up the grime and eats up the organic matter, not the bacteria, but the mold and all that on the sides of buildings. And that takes about 2 weeks. So basically they would have that product put on, and 2 weeks later they would come up and they'd rinse it off. Which I found a little bit interesting. I'd never even considered high pressure water damaging buildings. But then, so what I mean by that is basically, if you've got high pressure going through, I'm guessing it puts a lot more strain on equipment compared to low pressure. But again, this is just my guess. I will ask Pierre for feedback on maintenance on the drones. Yeah, so that's that one there. Come on, Ben, don't let me do all the talking here, mate.
Sorry, man, I'm on Twitter just replying to James Pelton. I'm second.
Right, so yeah, and I mean also the one person that I didn't thank, which I think I should have thanked a little bit earlier on, is, we want to give a big thank you to Kyle. I know him and his team, they've worked their ass off. I mean, the launch went reasonably flawlessly. I mean, I know there was a couple of issues with whitelist wallets not being registered and all that, but I mean, that just comes with the territory. But I want to thank Kyle for working on that very quickly. I mean, it was quite a flawless launch. So we really appreciate it from our side there, mate.
Cheers, thank you. I know the team, there was an issue here actually just a few minutes ago. AVAX, the network itself, was having some issues, some interruptions, so we had some delays with RPC calls. And so they just did a Ninja patch. They added some redundancy servers, so everything's up and running. But no, it looks like people are minting just fine. We had a good response from our whitelisters, and looking forward to support from our public minters.
Absolutely. Yeah, so I mean, guys, if you guys have got any more questions, like I say, we're going to have this meeting every week. Every week I'd say probably around this time up until we reach our go point, and then afterwards, we're happy to carry on with weekly meetings. I think weekly meetings are very important. We're also going to try and set up a Twitter space coming up in this next week or two. We're going to invite a couple of other projects on to come chat with us. So, I mean, behind the scenes here, guys, we're working on marketing, we're working on getting everything going, and basically we're working towards success. For us, it's not an option not to succeed. So you can be sure that from our side, we're going to work as hard as what we can to make sure that this grows. Every other project that we get involved in grows as well. Sparky, you talking about franchising now? Sadly, I think KTV is already in America. If you have a look, if you go on their website, I think you'll be able to see which countries they're already implemented in. I know that they implemented in India. I know that they I'm pretty sure they implemented in the States and Canada.
They just had Germany sign up as well, I think.
They've just had Germany sign up.
They are in the US and Canada as well.
So I know they're not in Thailand. I mean, we were actually having a chat the other day saying, "Ooh, maybe we should bring them down to Thailand as well." So yeah, I mean, the project, the KTV, they definitely are the leaders in the industry. I mean, we're really, really lucky to have gotten involved with this basically from the ground zero. I know that Pierre wants to move over into Spain later on as well. So I mean, expansion's really, is it Spain or Portugal or both? But I mean, he's not standing still. He's moving. I mean, that's what we're all here for, guys. I mean, we're all here to bring the best opportunities to our community. I mean, we still feel and think and believe that this is a huge opportunity. And, we're really proud to be part of it. What about Thailand? Yeah, Red. I mean, that's what I said. We're actually maybe going to have a look into that. Pierre spent 6 months of the year in France, and he spent 6 months of the year in Thailand. He's 66 years old. He doesn't like the cold. So it was actually something that he brought up to us last week, saying that we should maybe, when he comes back to Thailand, I think he's coming back to Thailand end of April, to explore the possibility of expanding into Thailand. The only thing, though, with expanding into Thailand or expanding even into the States or all that, is what makes France so interesting and such a viable project is because France has to clean their buildings by law every 10 years. So if they don't do it, and I mean, this again, it's open information. I mean, if you Google French cleaning laws or French building cleaning laws, and I think in our white paper we actually have a link to the government site where it stipulates that law. That's why France was so exciting, was because companies don't have the choice. They have to do it. And here we come in with a solution that's 66% cheaper. Oh, and something else that Pierre mentioned to me 2 days ago which I admit I haven't had a chance to have a look into it, but I mean, all the internet sleuths out there, go ahead. Apparently France has just, or is just about to pass a law that these people that sail off the top of a building, you know, with the abseil ropes, Spider-Men, that's not going to be allowed anymore because apparently their feet damage the side of the buildings. So Pierre was telling me now that that law is about to come in, that people are not allowed to hang off the side of buildings on ropes. A, it's too dangerous. B, they damage the building with their feet. So the only way they're going to be able to do it manually is through scaffolding, you know, or hoists. So again, that just brings a whole other opportunity or a whole other new demand for these drones, which was actually fantastic news. Also not to forget to mention that any outside parking in France now over 2,000 square meters has to have solar panel roofing put on it now as part of France's renewable energy. So, I mean, again, you've got solar panels on top of parking lots. Who's going to clean that? Here comes drone tech again. So I mean, honestly, the potential and the revenue is really, really fantastic. And then I know Gummy actually mentioned a very, very good question that I wanted to briefly touch on. But Gummy was a bit worried, saying, right, hold on a minute, we're getting a percentage of profits. What happens if there's no profits? Fantastic question. And that is why when we negotiated this contract, we negotiated on gross profit and not net profit. So basically, we are making sure that from day one, we will be getting revenue, you know, before anything gets diluted, you know, through taxes and that kind of stuff. So again, looking out for the community, that was our thing. You know, we only went into this deal if it was on a gross profit base. So I mean, that's not something that the community should concern themselves with about the drone tech not having a profit at the end of each cycle. Any other questions here? Let's franchise. Okay, there you go, Sparky. So yeah, I mean, Kyle, Ben, Brent, you guys want to add something here, guys?
Red, the first airdrop is scheduled for December. So there is a little bit of lag time, but that's to make sure that Drone Tech is set up on their feet as best as possible to make sure that this partnership lasts as long as possible. Beyond that, I got nothing.
Yeah, beyond December, it will be a quarterly payout on the drone operations, and hopefully by then we'll have 10 in the sky. I mean, we're looking forward to releasing this new information from Pierre about the negotiations with this company, and then obviously you can all go and do your research and due diligence into the company, and you'll see how big it is. So we're pretty confident. Right now we've got 4 operating at 100% of the time. I think you mentioned, Greg. If we can get 10, just 10 at 50%.
We'll definitely be at 100% of the time.
Yeah, if we can just get 10 at 50%, I mean, that's you're talking the high figures that we quoted in the white paper, and that's on a conservative 50%. If we can get 100% runtime, potentially even more than 10 drones, then obviously that number will go up.
Yeah, and I think Ben's raised a very important point there. You know, I mean, I know we throw around the figures of 5 and 10 drones, but I mean, if we go up to 15, 20, 30 drones, that all comes into the gross profit of the company. And again, SkyFi touches a percentage of the gross profit of the company, regardless of how many drones there are. You know, so honestly, it's not. Don't even look at the 5 or 10 drones. As Ben said, imagine this now growing up to 20, 30, 40 drones, which is going to happen. It will happen. I'm not saying it's going to happen today. I'm not saying it's going to happen tomorrow, but we will continue to grow. And as drone tech continues to grow, SkyFi will continue to grow with drone tech. And as SkyFi continues to grow, the community members continue to be, to grow as well.
Sparky, I see your questions. Steve, welcome to the stage. What you got for us?
Morning, Steve.
So my question is are the drone will be able to run 7 days a week? I mean, I heard you mention 30 days a month earlier.
Will the drones be able to work 7 days a week? I don't see why they wouldn't be able to work 7 days a week. I do know, though, in France, they've got some very funny laws when it comes to working hours. So I think they're on a 35-hour week. But I mean, again, drones, when they work from Monday to Friday, all that you'd have to have is just pilots in rotation. So you might have some pilots that have got weekends off on Mondays and Tuesdays, and they work Saturdays and Sundays. Obviously, it would depend on residential areas, because I don't think the drones would be allowed to work in a residential area during the weekend. But if it's companies or office buildings or something like that for working on a weekend, is probably what they would prefer, because that would bring out less disruptions to the company. So yes, I mean, basically the drones could operate. I'm not saying each drone will operate at 7 days, because each drone is attributed to a pilot. So I'd say each drone will be operating at maximum about 5 days a week.
Very good. And then my other question, I live in Michigan, where we get pretty severe weather. Are there any like seasonal limitations to these, where in France is there weather where they wouldn't be able to operate?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Again, part of our 50% of operating days. The drones, I think there's, I don't have this figure. Pierre has told it to me before, and I don't have this figure jotted down. But there is certain wind conditions. So once the wind conditions reach a certain speed, then the drones won't be able to operate. Obviously, a heavy rainfall or snowstorm, they won't be able to operate. But the weather in France, luckily, it's not typhoon weather. It's not, it's not extreme weather, if you like, in many cases, especially if you go into cities like Paris, which is very built up and protected from wind. But yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, the drones cannot fly during a heavy storm or during very heavy winds.
Makes sense. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Anytime, mate.
We got a question from Sparky. How long does the next minting phase last?
Okay, so again, Sparky, for us, I think that was something that we mentioned from the beginning. We never expected 3,000 NFTs to mint out in 24 hours, 48 hours a week. So for us, once we reach our go point, the minting phase stays open, and it will just stay open until it finalizes. Basically, with Pierre, we've got brackets. So once we reach X amount of cash, we do the first transfer. We reach the second amount of cash, we do the next transfer, etc. The good thing with that is that as soon as we do the first transfer of cash, I'm just going to throw a silly number out there, but let's say 100K. So once we transfer over that first 100K, every single NFT that has been minted for that 100K is locked in. So then regardless of what happens, of if other NFTs mint out or they don't mint out, those 100K worth of NFTs are locked into drone tech. So then those NFTs, regardless of the fact, will be generating their rewards. So, I mean, I know it sounds a bit weird, do we need to mint out completely 100% to proceed? No, we don't. We just need to reach each bracket, and as we reach each bracket, we can then go forwards onto the next stage with Pierre.
And he has another question. What is the cost of the drone?
The cost of the drone, I wish Martin was here, because Martin's got the answer to that question. I'm sorry, I don't have that answer. I will get that answer and I will post it in the chat.
1 second, I'll call him now. Wake him up.
Or give Martin a quick call.
And then he does have one more question. What's the limits of the number of drones working? Is it just demand?
It's just supply and demand. Yeah, of course. I mean, that's the one thing, Pierre's not going in gung-ho with 500 drones. I mean, Pierre was going in with one drone. Initially, when we first set up the project, we did all of our calculations on one drone. And then Pierre just kept on getting demand and demand and demand. So then he moved from one drone to 4 drones. To give you an idea, and this one has been pretty much also signed off on, but he's in the final process of a contract to clean national monuments in France. I mean, I'm not saying he's going to go and clean the Eiffel Tower, but he's there to clean, he's got contracts in place to clean national monuments. So when he got that contract, that was actually when he gave me a call to say that we're going to be moving over onto 4 drones. As Ben said, I would be very surprised if we don't start with more than 4 drones before the end of this year. If I look at the speed that Pierre's moving at, I think we need to start running to catch up with him. But yeah, so I mean, basically, it's really supply and demand. I mean, Pierre's very, very well connected. He comes from a small town in a small town in the French near the French Alps called Chambéry. So if we've got any French people in here, they'd know that town. I mean, otherwise, just go and throw it out in Google. Yeah. But so Pierre comes from a small town in Chambéry. He's based there, but I know that he's putting the head office in Paris, obviously, because Paris is just the capital, and where most of the money is. Pierre is definitely going into Paris. I know that he's already got an office there rented out that he's going to move his team into. So I mean, basically, I mean, that's where we're standing at the moment with Pierre. I know I did have a chat with him as well, and I chased him up on it because he promised us that his website would be up on this Thursday. But then Pierre told us that please just give him one more week because he's just busy populating it and getting information out. So his website will be up next week, which we will then link into our Discord and share that with all of you guys.
Yeah, thing with Pierre, ideally we'd like to get him more involved with AMAs. Our only worry is, like for you guys, if his accent is very strong. I mean, I even struggle to understand him. And I think Greg would have to be like a constant translator from French to English. I don't know what.
I'm happy to do that. If everyone's happy to have Pierre on and he'll speak French, and then I will just translate, and I mean, I'm more than happy to do that.
Just so people get a chance to meet him a little bit more, and.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm more than happy to do that. Again, he's 66 years old, so I'm not too sure if he will, if he'll be able to get Discord up and going. But let me try. I mean, it would be a lot easier if he was in Thailand and I could pop over to his house and help him with it. But let me give Pierre a call today. Let me see if we can't get him on to next week's chat.
Cool.
Or even get an AMA up and going, where everyone can come in and ask him some questions. I mean, I'm more than happy to do that if everyone's just happy to just have me translating for him. I know Fabrice speaks French, so that probably won't be too difficult for him. I know Cosmic Red speaks French, but I also know that most of you guys don't, so yeah.
We got one more from Vince DVM. What is the effectiveness? Does a drone do as good or better job than a manual cleaning?
Vince, from my understanding, it does just as good a job. It does just as good a job in half the time. So, again, like I say, it's not, the drone's not there scrubbing. When you've got people on the side of the building, they've got their brushes and their soap and their chemicals and they're scrubbing, or using a high-pressure water jet and all that. So what the drone does is it just sprays on the chemicals, I think, like I explained a bit earlier on, that slowly clean the debris away over a couple of weeks. So it's just like I'm trying to think what the word would be for that, but it's just like a dissolvent, if you want. But I mean, all the chemicals that Pierre used, they are all eco-friendly. not there to hurt the environment. I mean, France got very, very, very strict laws when it comes to environmental protection. So yeah, I mean, what those actual chemicals are, I couldn't tell you. I've got no idea. But I do know that that the quality of the work is just as high as manual work.
I've just tried to find the figure. You mentioned he's going into Paris. I'm trying to see how many buildings are in Paris. I can't find that number, but it says there are 6,000 streets. Obviously, you've got skyscrapers and residential in there, so you've one of the biggest cities in the world. If not,
it is one of the biggest cities in the world.
Yeah, Paris. So.
Yeah, I think I saw another question there earlier.
I was trying to keep a tab on them as we were going and make sure we got to all of them. But if I missed one, I do apologize.
Well, I think the Cora asked what the current customer demand is right now for drone tech. Is it enough to sustain 4 drones and employees, vehicles, etc.? Yeah, the Cora it is. I mean, the thing is, again, like I said, he's got his contracts in place for cleaning of the monuments. He's also now in the process of signing. Pierre's actually in Norway at the moment. He's at KTV Drones headquarters. They're in the final process now of signing a contract with one of the biggest companies. I can't give you the company name up until time that they've signed it. But once I do have that company name, or once they've signed it, I'll definitely release it. But it is one of the biggest companies in France, and they've got a whole bunch of towers that need cleaning on a very regular basis. And just that job alone would keep all 4 drones occupied pretty much 100% of the time. I mean, that's how big that company is, and they've got towers not just in Paris; they've got towers all over France. Do we have a Facebook presence? No, we don't. Oh, you're welcome. Sorry we missed that question earlier there, mate. Let me quickly scroll up to see if we've got anything else here. I think that's about it. Why not? Cosmic Red, I don't know. You're talking to a whole bunch of old farts here. We're not teenagers, I'm afraid. Yeah, but I mean, I think we can definitely get something going with Facebook or something. So yeah. So in any case, I mean, guys, if there are any more questions, throw them out. I mean, we're still here for another 15 minutes, more or less. And then, like I said, we will be having this chat every week at this time to give you guys updates of where we are, what's going, what's happening and all that. I mean, again, like I said from the beginning, for us, it's transparency all the way. And we really want to be a team that you guys can trust and know that we've got your best interests at heart.
And not just that, but if you've got any ideas, I was talking to, I won't name the person, but someone out of our community yesterday, and they were talking about they want to do their own project and potentially working with us.
Brent, Ben, do you guys have any closing statements there?
Can you not hear Ben? He was in the middle of talking.
I was talking, brother.
I can't hear him again.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
I'll jump out and jump back in. Sorry, I'll jump out and jump back in.
Give Ben a second.
Bugger off, mate. Yeah, but so yeah, I mean, speaking to the person, they want to potentially work with us with their own project that they've been working on. And again, that's what we're trying to build, is like a platform, not just for us, but for yourselves. I mean, if you do have an idea, or you know people with an idea, bring them in here, let's talk about it, and we can we can iron out any details as a potential partnership or collab further on down the line. The idea of SkyFi projects is... Go on. Sorry, Save.
We do have that partnership ticket set up just exactly for that. So if you've got something and you want to talk to the team, please use that partnership ticket.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, this is the early days for SkyFi. We've only been around for not long, 2 months, if that. So we plan to be around for a very, very long time. And coincidentally, right now I'm starting to see more people talk on Twitter about essentially what we are doing. I'm not sure if they've seen what we're doing or if they're aware of what we've already done with Canafox. But it's the same model, you know, this idea of raising funds via the community to get a startup off the ground that is self-generating. It generates its own revenue. It doesn't rely on Ponzi's. It doesn't rely on new money coming in. And we fractionalize the revenue. I mean, it's such a brilliant, simple model. And I'm seeing quite a lot of people now talking about if there was something like that in DeFi, how big it would be. So it's early doors now and we are small, but I can see the road ahead as we grow and get more projects online and off the ground. It's going to be a very, very big project and platform that we're going to create. So yeah, I'm excited. At the beginning of the flywheel effect. Does anyone have any other questions before? I know Cosmic Red was going to come on and do a nice little stand-up for us, and maybe Hannah can help her out, those two. Drag them up on stage.
Yes, Steve, I see that you're asking about Alpha Shares. Actually, we were on Alpha Shares about a week ago. So yeah, I mean, we definitely are grinding it from our side. I mean, we've been on Alpha Shares, we've been on, Ben, what's that other one called? I always get these two confused.
Founders Alliance.
Alliance, thank you. So, I mean, we are working here. We are working getting the name out. We are working to get more eyeballs, grow the community. Again, that's why we're really, really excited to be working with Cryptonaires again. I mean, we have a very special relationship with Robert. You know, I mean, he's a outstanding guy. Again, with Critical Complex Dave, I mean, we don't want, again, this quantity versus quality. I mean, our philosophy has always been not to go and with all these shillers and degens, because it's really not the crowd that we want. No. You know, the crowd that we want are the people that want everyone to win. I mean, if you look at a lot of degen projects, you know, if you get in early, there's 1,000x, 2,000x, and a handful of people walk away smiling, and the rest of the people are left all holding the bag, you know, which is what we don't want. We don't want anyone to hold the bag. I mean, in all honesty, if anyone's going to be left holding the bag, it'll be us, the core team from SkyFi, you know, So we're not here for our community members to hold any bags. We're here for our community members to win. And granted, I mean, it's not 1,000x, it's not a 2,000x, but it's steady, it's stable. And I think that should be the core value. I mean, the reason why crypto has got such a bad name today is exactly that. The amount of people that have put in $1,000, $2,000, gone to bed, and woken up and their $1,000, $2,000 is worth cents. You know, I mean, that's really not what we're about. That was the whole reason why Ben and myself got the whole team together, you know, including Kyle and Martin and everyone, is to avoid those kind of situations. And the only way that we saw that we could do it was by going with real world utility. You know, and I mean, Ben and myself, we say quite a lot, you know, not magic internet money. we want to have something that exists, that's tangible, that you can see it, you can touch it, you can feel it. Pierre, again, he's such a lovely guy. If anyone's in France, and say to Pierre, oh, we'd like to come meet you at the offices, I have no doubt that he would say, come on over and have a cup of coffee. And that's what our team's about. If you look at what we did with Canafox, we've met 10, 15 members of the community. We're here to be open, we're here to be approachable, and we'll never ever say no to meeting anyone. Again, if any community members down the neck of woods of Thailand and say, oh, Greg, Ben, have you guys got time for a cup of coffee or a beer or something, we'll be there. So yeah, that's basically just how we working, is we really want to build up the trust and the credibility in the crypto space. And, I think we're on the right path. Yeah, that's true, actually. We met Cosmic Red. Cosmic Red came down, I think we met her 2 weeks ago. We had a beer with her, and she's funnier in person. But yeah.
I won't say where. Go on, Red. Tell the team or tell the community where you met with us. It wasn't our idea to meet there. I'm pretty sure that was.
That is true.
I see Gummy's in the channel or in the chat.
Hey, Dead Pig, saw you typing. Did you have a question?
Hello, Gummy, by the way. How you doing, buddy? Doing all right?
Still never heard his voice. All I know is he's from Pineapple Under the Sea. Where that is, I don't know.
Always good to see you, though, Gummy. We've got to get you a Gummy's channel on you.
This might be a good one for you. Dead Pigeon was wondering if there was any impact on drone tech with the current riots and protests in France.
That's one thing the French, I lived in Paris for 10 odd years. That's one thing that the French are absolutely renowned for. And if you actually Google the amount of riots and strikes that France has had every time they've moved the retirement age, it's ridiculous. Is there any impact right now? No, because right now drone tech is not operating. They're planning to start operating in July. So no, right now it has no impact whatsoever, and I doubt that there will be any riots come July. But obviously, some things happen that are just out of people's control. But again, if you look into the history of France, with the riots and strikes and all that, they always carry on for a couple of weeks and then they calm down and peter out, a little bit like everything. So, but yeah, great question. How would that impact drone tech if drone tech was operating right now? Well, don't forget, drone tech is not just based in one city, and I think most of these riots are all in Paris. So, drone tech would be able to still operate in other cities. They'd be able to operate in Lyon. They'd be able to operate in Toulouse. I know that's another one, is that, I hope I'm not going to get into trouble with Pierre for this one, but Pierre was in negotiations, and I think those are pretty much finalized, was to clean the hangars at the airports in Toulouse. So that was another project that I think he's actually finalized that one. I need to double check with him, otherwise I'm going to be in a bit of trouble for mentioning this. But yes, he was busy setting up a contract to clean all the hangars. Now, I asked him a question. I said, why can't we use drones to clean the aeroplanes? Because in my head I thought, wow, that would be amazing. But no, nothing's allowed to fly close to an airplane, I'm afraid. So that's part of IATA rules. So sadly we won't be able to use them to clean aeroplanes. But I do know that that the hangars were definitely an option, or are an option, or have become finalized. One of the three, I'm afraid. But again, like I say, Pierre is just running pedal to the metal, So I mean, if you come out, if there are riots, to come back to your question, if there are riots in Paris or in another city, the beauty is that Drone Tech just moves to another city where it's quieter and just carries on working there, And then once it quietens down in that city, moves back in.
I am not seeing any more questions at the moment. Anybody have any closing remarks, since we are closing in on that hour mark at this point in time?
From me, that's it. Fine. Any other questions, throw them out in the Discord. Like I say, we're all in there. So, we'll get back to your questions there. And then we'll set up a date for next week this time and have another update on what's going on.
Dead Pigeon, I see you typing. We're not going anywhere quite yet. And Ben, just to confirm, this was being recorded and we will be able to get this posted?
Correct, sir.
Fantastic.
Yeah, after this as well, just throw it in there, we'll be doing the Commander giveaway. So stay tuned for that. We'll be announcing that, me and Save, over the next couple of hours.
Kyle, I have a question for you. Dead Pigeon was curious as to why the USDC approval is how it is in MetaMask with setting an allowance. I've never seen this before when approving a contract.
Sorry, that came out a little bit garbled. Do you mind repeating that, please?
Yeah, so Dead Pigeon is asking why the USD approval is how much it is in MetaMask with setting an allowance. He's never seen. Apologize, I just assumed. Never seen that before when approving a contract.
Gotcha. You mean the two-step that we have in there?
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah, it's a mechanism. It's a mechanism to discourage bots. Sometimes sometimes in projects we'll also want to add features, and so the other purpose of it is if we were to put a limit, like if there was somebody like a group. In this case, it wasn't applicable with whitelisters, but generally what would happen is whitelisters might have a limit on what they could mint. So first they would need to check, they need to validate against their allocated limit. Again, that wasn't set here, but the second purpose is bots. Like I've built bots that just kind of go in, can mint on the fly. They can interact with the contract. That's a different thing. But with relation to our DApp, we just simply didn't want to have somebody create a bot. Likeliness of that is low, but if some event were to happen, generally what happens is people turn to the devs and then we're burned at the stake. So we'd rather be a little bit more prudent than not.
Thanks, Kyle.
Damn it, Ben, we can't use the petrol and steak.
What you said?
we can't use the petrol and steak.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Zeta Capital have recently brought that two-step thing in as well. There's quite a few projects that are utilizing it now.
There are ways that you can build. You got to be a little bit more sophisticated than like a script kiddie to build like another scrape or another bot. Mm-hmm. It can be done, but then there's that consideration. How much effort do you want to dev against the bad guys versus like, I mean, if they're minting, well, great. Like, then the project is minting further, so it's not necessarily a bad thing. Where it is kind of a double-edged sword, though, is like, you know, you want to make sure there's opportunity or fair opportunity for your community. And anyways, a two-step is reasonable. I think anything beyond that at this point, where we're just DeFi's at in its life cycle, I don't know that it's needed. I think that when you look at like just internet in general, how did it evolve? It had like, you know, captures.
I'm just reading here there. So Dead Pigeon says that just when I press default for it, it auto put over. Oh, that's a lot of zeros. Hold on, let me count those zeros. 1,
million.
2, 3, 5, 6, 1 million USDC. And warned the contract would be able to pull the USDC at will. So if I set it just to the NFT price, that would cap the amount allowed to be pulled.
Yeah, I'm not sure that hang on, let me take a look at his message. Like, if there's a technical issue there, you might want to just DM me and I can help him, but let me see here. First, when I press default for it, auto pulled over and warned the contract. I don't know. There could be, and not saying that this is a dead pigeon thing, I have seen there be, what do they call it? Fat finger syndrome, like you sometimes hit the wrong button. I'm guilty of that too in the past. I don't really understand how he might have gotten that or she might have gotten into that situation, but if they're able to replicate it, maybe send me a screenshot or some sort of video, I can look into it further. But, you know, I'm running through it now and I'm not seeing any issues. I think that with all the other mints, we haven't seen anything reported, so it just might be something unique to Dead Pigeon.
Okay, well, I think maybe Dead Pigeon, the best thing there would be if you can pop Carl a DM and then just have a look if, I'm sure Carl will have a look into that.
Yeah, Red is saying it's a MetaMask thing. Avalanche and Polygon are doing it now. And then Crypto Sunrise said he's been told to put the limit at the precise amount of the transaction.
Yes, I mean, Dead Pigeon, you know, if you can replicate it, please pop that over to Kyle. He'll have a look into it. Ben, we can get our steak and petrol out again. But yeah, no, I mean, but thanks for bringing that up, Dead Pigeon. I mean, we're definitely happy to look into it. I see that Crypto Sunrise says that he's dealing with the same thing at Zeta. So yeah, it might just be a MetaMask thing. You know, and I think Cosmic saying the same thing. But I mean, we'll definitely look into it. Or I say we loosely. Kyle will definitely look into it.
Does anyone have any more questions? We've crossed the hour mark now, so I think we'll start to wrap things up. Oh, got another Dead Pigeon typing again. It's keeping us working.
Yeah. No rush.
Oh, he's stopped typing now. No, carry on.
Carry on, mate.
All right, awesome.
Okay, all good. Okay, awesome. Okay, guys. Well, we'll get this SkyFi Chat put onto our YouTube in the next hour or so. Ben just needs to send me the audio, and I'll load it up onto the YouTube, and then we'll see you guys next week for the next SkyFi Chat.
I think we had a couple requests, just really quickly. I think that somebody requested we look at like other icons, like building an icon set with drones. And then the other one was, I think, Greg, they wanted to see more icons of you. So, Ben, you can get that going. That'd be great.
We've got some here. Hang on. Where are they?
We'll leave me out of the icons there, mate. But, I mean, we can definitely get a couple of Ben. I mean, he's much more handsome than what I am.
I'm not, mate. I'm not working with you. Age is kicking in. Where are those icons?
But send them over. I'll put them up.
Oh, for heaven's sake, Brett, you're fired.
I've been fired 3 times today. I got to be doing something right.
So anyway, I mean, I think we did throw out a little bit of a